More and more people today are diagnosed with high blood lipids, but there's a significant misunderstanding about this condition. Due to these misconceptions, our prevention and treatment approaches are often misguided. Dr. Mitchell, a specialist in metabolic health, explains that the first common mistake people make is avoiding all fats when diagnosed with high cholesterol. When people hear they have high blood lipids, they immediately think they should eliminate all fats from their diet, explains Dr. Mitchell. This fundamental misunderstanding can actually worsen your health outcomes rather than improve them. The truth is that cholesterol and other lipids are vital components of our body's function. They form essential structures in cell membranes, contribute to bile production for digestion, and serve as building blocks for crucial hormones including estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone. Cholesterol is also the precursor molecule for vitamin 500 synthesis when our skin is exposed to sunlight. Additionally, fats provide a concentrated source of energy for our body, supplying 9 calories per gram compared to 4 calories from carbohydrates or proteins. This makes them an efficient energy reserve during periods of food scarcity or intense physical activity. Lipid disorders. High cholesterol. The second misconception lies in our terminology. Dr. Mitchell emphasizes that high blood lipids isn't precisely accurate. The more appropriate term is lipid disorder rather than simply high blood lipids. He explained, when examining blood test results, patients often panic seeing elevated numbers without understanding what they mean. A comprehensive lipid panel typically includes 4 key measurements: total cholesterol, LDL is a low-density lipoprotein, HDL is a high-density lipoprotein, and triglycerides. Not all elevated values indicate a problem. In fact, an increase in HDL, often called good cholesterol, is beneficial for cardiovascular health. HDL acts like a cleaning service in your bloodstream, collecting excess cholesterol from tissues and transporting it back to the liver for processing or elimination. Only 3 parameters, total cholesterol, LDL, triglycerides, become concerning when elevated, notes Dr. Mitchell. This is why the correct terminology is lipid disorder, as it acknowledges that the issue lies in the imbalance of these components, rather than simply high levels across the board. Understanding your lipid panel results. To manage lipid health effectively, we must understand what each component of a lipid panel represents. Total cholesterol provides an overall measurement of all cholesterol in your bloodstream, but doesn't distinguish between types. This value alone isn't particularly informative without examining the specific components. LDL cholesterol, often labeled as bad cholesterol, transports lipids from the liver to tissues throughout the body. When excessive LDL can deposit cholesterol in arterial walls, forming plaques that restrict blood flow and potentially lead to cardiovascular events. Current medical guidelines focus heavily on managing LDL levels, particularly for individuals with existing cardiovascular disease or multiple risk factors. HDL cholesterol performs the opposite function, removing cholesterol from tissues and returning it to the liver. Higher HDL levels correlate with lower cardiovascular risk, with optimal levels typically above 60 nL, a 1.6 mmol. Unlike other lipid measurements where lower is better, with HDL higher values are desirable. This is why simply saying high blood lipids can be misleading. Dr. Mitchell emphasizes, if your HDL is high, that's actually protective, not problematic. The role of HDL. Why higher is better? HDL cholesterol serves as the body's natural defense against atherosclerosis, the buildup of fatty plaques in arterial walls. Research has established several mechanisms by which HDL protects cardiovascular health. First, HDL facilitates reverse cholesterol transport, collecting excess cholesterol from peripheral tissues and delivering it to the liver for excretion or recycling. This process directly counteracts the plaque-forming tendency of LDL cholesterol. Second, HDL exhibits powerful anti-inflammatory properties, reducing the inflammatory response that contributes to atherosclerosis progression. It also possesses antioxidant capabilities that prevent the oxidation of LDL particles, a key step in plaque formation. When reviewing your lipid panel, you want to see HDL levels above the reference range. Dr. Mitchell explains, for men we like to see values above 40 ng/dL, and for women, above 50 ng/dL with optimal levels exceeding 60 ng/dL for both sexes. Low HDL levels represent an independent risk factor for cardiovascular disease, even when other lipid parameters appear normal. This underscores why addressing overall lipid balance, rather than focusing solely on reducing total cholesterol, is critical for optimal health. The carbohydrate-triglyceride connection. The third major misconception involves the relationship between diet and blood lipids. Many people believe that dietary fat is the sole culprit behind elevated lipid levels. When diagnosed with high cholesterol, patients often eliminate fatty foods but increase carbohydrate intake substantially. Dr. Mitchell observes, this approach can actually worsen certain lipid parameters, particularly triglycerides. Triglycerides represent the most abundant form of fat storage in the human body. Unlike cholesterol, which primarily serves structural and hormonal functions, Triglycerides constitute our primary energy reserve. What many don't realize is that excess carbohydrate consumption significantly impacts triglyceride levels. When you consume more carbohydrates than your body needs for immediate energy, explains Dr. Mitchell, the liver converts this excess into triglycerides for storage. This is why patients who switch from high-fat to high-carbohydrate diets often see their triglyceride levels increase rather than decrease. Research has consistently demonstrated that diets high in refined carbohydrates, particularly sugar, and processed grains, elevate triglyceride levels more dramatically than diets containing moderate amounts of healthy fats. This paradoxical relationship explains why low-fat, high-carb dietary approaches often fail to improve overall lipid profiles. The liver's role in lipid metabolism. Understanding the liver's function in lipid metabolism provides crucial insight into managing blood lipids effectively. The liver serves as the body's primary site for lipid processing, synthesis, and regulation. When you consume carbohydrates, they're broken down into glucose, which enters the bloodstream. Insulin facilitates glucose uptake by cells for energy production. However, when glucose levels exceed immediate energy requirements, the excess is directed to the liver, where it undergoes de novo lipogenesis, the conversion of carbohydrates to fats. This newly synthesized fat doesn't simply disappear. Dr. Mitchell explains, the liver packages triglycerides with proteins to form very low-density lipoproteins of VLDL, which enter circulation. As VLDL deposits triglycerides in adipose tissue, it eventually transforms into LDL, contributing to elevated LDL levels. This metabolic pathway explains why dietary balance matters more than simply restricting fat intake. Excessive carbohydrate consumption, particularly from refined sources, can drive triglyceride and LDL production independently of dietary fat intake. Many patients with elevated triglycerides also exhibit insulin resistance or metabolic syndrome, notes Dr. Mitchell. These conditions share a common root in carbohydrate metabolism dysregulation, which is why addressing carbohydrate quality and quantity becomes essential in lipid management. The 4 types of dietary fats. The fourth critical misconception involves treating all dietary fats as equal. People often believe all fats increase blood lipids, says Dr. Mitchell, but different types of fats affect blood lipids in opposite ways. Dietary fats fall into 4 main categories. 1. Saturated fats, found predominantly in animal products like red meat, full-fat dairy, and tropical oils like coconut oil. Trans fats, present in some processed foods, partially hydrogenated oils, and deep-fried items. Monounsaturated fats, abundant in olive oil, avocados, and most nuts. Polyunsaturated fats, found in vegetable oils, fatty fish, flax seeds, and walnuts. The first 2 categories, saturated and trans fats, generally increase blood cholesterol levels when consumed in excess. Dr. Mitchell explains, in contrast, monounsaturated and polyunsaturated fats typically improve lipid profiles by reducing LDL while maintaining or increasing HDL. This differentiation is crucial for developing healthy dietary patterns. Rather than avoiding all fats, the emphasis should be on replacing potentially harmful fats with beneficial ones, substituting saturated and trans fats with mono and polyunsaturated alternatives. Harmful fat sources and health impacts. Saturated fats primarily occur in animal-derived foods and certain plant oils. Red meat, particularly fatty cuts, contains substantial amounts of saturated fat, as does the skin and visible fat in poultry. Full-fat dairy products like cheese, butter, and whole milk also contribute significantly to saturated fat intake. The fat layer under chicken skin is particularly rich in saturated fats. Dr. Mitchell points out, when consumed in excess, these fats can raise LDL cholesterol by increasing hepatic cholesterol synthesis and reducing LDL receptor activity, which normally clears LDL from circulation. Trans fats represent an even greater concern. Industrially produced trans fats form when vegetable oils undergo partial hydrogenation, a process that extends shelf life but creates a fat type that dramatically increases cardiovascular risk. Trans fats are particularly troublesome because they not only raise LDL but simultaneously lower HDL, creating a double hit to cardiovascular health, explains Dr. Mitchell. They are often found in commercially prepared baked goods, fried foods, and some margarines or vegetable shortenings. While natural trans fats occur in small amounts in meat and dairy from ruminant animals, research suggests these naturally occurring forms don't carry the same risk profile as their industrial counterparts. Beneficial fats, improving your lipid profile. Monounsaturated fats represent one category of healthy fats. They maintain their liquid state at room temperature but solidify when refrigerated. Olive oil stands as the most renowned source, containing approximately 75% monounsaturated fat. Mediterranean populations consuming diets rich in olive oil consistently demonstrate lower rates of cardiovascular disease, notes Dr. Mitchell. This benefit stems partly from monounsaturated fat's ability to reduce LDL cholesterol while preserving or enhancing HDL levels. Other excellent sources include avocados, most nuts, particularly almonds, hazelnuts, and macadamias, and oils like canola and peanut. These foods provide not only beneficial fats but also antioxidants, fiber, and plant sterols that further support cardiovascular health. Polyunsaturated fats offer additional benefits, particularly omega-3 and omega-6 fatty acids, essential nutrients our bodies cannot produce. While both types are necessary, modern diets typically provide excessive omega-6 relative to omega-3, creating an imbalance that may promote inflammation. Omega-3 fatty acids, especially those found in seafood, demonstrate remarkable cardioprotective properties. Dr. Mitchell explains, they reduce triglyceride synthesis, decrease inflammatory markers, and may help stabilize heart rhythm, reducing sudden cardiac death risk. The power of omega-3 fatty acids. Omega fatty acids deserve special attention in lipid management. These polyunsaturated fats occur in three main forms: alpha-linolenic acid ALA from plant sources, and eicosapentaenoic acid EPA and docosahexaenoic acid DHA primarily from marine sources. Cold water fatty fish provide the most bioavailable forms of omega-3s, explains Dr. Mitchell. Species like salmon, mackerel, sardines, and herring contain substantial amounts of EPA and DHA which directly influence lipid metabolism. Clinical research demonstrates that omega-3 fatty acids can reduce triglyceride levels by 20-50% in individuals with elevated levels. They accomplish this by decreasing hepatic VLDL and triglyceride synthesis while enhancing triglyceride clearance from circulation. Beyond their triglyceride-lowering effects, omega-3s exhibit anti-inflammatory and antithrombotic properties that further protect cardiovascular health. They modify the phospholipid composition of cell membranes, improving cellular function and signaling throughout the body. 2 servings of fatty fish weekly provides sufficient omega-3s for most individuals, recommends Dr. Mitchell. Those with established cardiovascular disease or significantly elevated triglycerides might benefit from higher intakes, potentially including supplementation under medical supervision. Achieving balance. The key to lipid health. While distinguishing between harmful and beneficial fats is important, Dr. Mitchell emphasizes that moderation remains essential even with healthy fats. L fats, regardless of type, provide 9 calories per gram, more than twice the caloric density of carbohydrates or proteins. He explained, excessive caloric intake, even from healthy sources, contributes to weight gain and can elevate triglycerides. Therefore, attention to portion size applies to all dietary components, including beneficial fats. A balanced approach to lipid management includes prioritizing unsaturated fats over saturated and eliminating trans fats, consuming moderate amounts of whole food carbohydrates while limiting refined varieties. 3. Incorporating lean protein sources, particularly plant proteins and fish, ensuring adequate fiber intake through vegetables, fruits, legumes, and whole grains. 5. Maintaining appropriate caloric balance for weight management. Nutritional wisdom isn't about eliminating entire food categories. Dr. Mitchell advises, it's about understanding how different foods affect your body and making informed choices that support overall health. Beyond diet, comprehensive lipid management. While dietary modification represents a cornerstone of lipid management, other lifestyle factors significantly influence blood lipid profiles. Dr. Mitchell advocates for a comprehensive approach that addresses multiple contributors to dyslipidemia. Regular physical activity enhances lipid metabolism through several mechanisms. Aerobic exercise increases HDL cholesterol, improves insulin sensitivity, and enhances the activity of lipoprotein lipase, an enzyme that breaks down triglycerides for energy use. AM for at least 150 minutes of moderate intensity exercise, weekly, ideally spread across multiple days, recommends Dr. Mitchell. Both aerobic activities like walking or swimming and resistance training offer benefits for lipid profiles. Weight management also plays a crucial role, as excess adiposity, particularly visceral fat surrounding internal organs, contributes to insulin resistance and dyslipidemia. Even modest weight loss of 500% can significantly improve lipid parameters in overweight individuals. Alcohol consumption warrants careful consideration, as its effects on lipids are complex. While moderate intake may increase HDL, excessive consumption elevates triglycerides. Dr. Mitchell suggests limiting alcohol to no more than 1 drink daily for women and 2 for men. Conclusion: transforming your approach to lipid health. Understanding the nuances of blood lipids empowers you to make informed choices beyond simplistic, low-fat approaches. Dr. Mitchell's guidance dispels common misconceptions while providing practical strategies for optimizing lipid profiles through dietary and lifestyle modifications. Remember that lipid health isn't about elimination. It's about balance and quality, concludes Dr. Mitchell. By distinguishing between different types of fats, understanding carbohydrates' role in triglyceride formation, and recognizing HDL's protective function, you can develop a personalized approach to cardiovascular wellness. For those seeking additional support, Dr. Mitchell offers a 3-month lipid management program where participants receive detailed guidance and regular monitoring to achieve optimal results. The program combines nutritional education, personalized meal planning, and ongoing support to help participants implement sustainable changes. By embracing these evidence-based principles, you can transform your relationship with dietary fats, improve your lipid profile, and enhance your long-term cardiovascular health, all while enjoying a diverse and satisfying diet.